What's up, folks, and welcome back to GSA for another Celeste Any Percent League qualifier group stage race. I'm Electric here commentating Starcruncher versus Aurora Dash. This should be a pretty exciting race. I saw Aurora Dash race yesterday, had a pretty great run. I believe mid 30, lower 31 in that race yesterday. Starcruncher, though, a good player in his own right. This will be a big one. And yes, I see in chat people asking about the music playlist, exclamation point music. I actually grabbed a few of those intermission playlist songs for my own stream. So we got the cheat prevention file names going in. Gonna get that countdown in the back pretty soon. Star? Aura? Yes, a very celestial matchup. Very appropriate for the game about climbing the star-reaching mountain. Okay, so we're in a prologue. Nothing major happening here. Got a few seconds to breathe. Starcruncher looks like running the game in a alternate language. If I had to guess, I think it's German, but not a polyglot. I don't have expertise with a number of languages. I'm just American and I recognize it ain't English. Definitely looking like German though, if I had to guess. Moving into the Forsaken City though. This is where things very first begin to heat up. This is like lighting the pilot light on the glorious stew that is this any percent run. Nice movement at first here. Nothing too challenging. A couple of kind of technical tricks towards the end. You see two different methods to that room there. Aurora Dash pulling ahead just a little bit. And you got to remember, this game is timed based on in-game time, not real time. So their timers will not always be in sync. Oh, Starcruncher with that unfortunate death there. See the K-Kona is coming out in chat from that southern accent reveal. So yeah, Starcruncher with that death losing some time. Aurora Dash seems to be having a pretty decent city though overall. Maybe a couple of bobbles here and there. And see, yeah, right now it looks like Starcruncher's ahead, but if you look at those timers, you'll see that that is actually not the case. We're actually about neck and neck. Starcruncher pulling out some pretty optimal movement. Aurora Dash opting to wait a little bit with a grab there to make that jump safer. And both of them get beyond that last room climb, and they are out of there, moving on into Chapter 2. Looks like Aurora Dash with about a 1 second lead, about 2 based on the big numerals. Not exactly sure what the hundredths were, but Starcruncher with just a slight deficit. And this nice fake sync. They're moving into the old site Chapter 2, where you're going to meet the main antagonist of the game, a part of yourself. But first, we got to go down to the Grand Mirror. Nothing too eventful happening here, although this chapter does pick up a lot towards the later half. It'll be exciting to see 6B from Aurora. Not sure if we'll see that today. In yesterday's race, Aurora Dash going for 6B instead of full 6A like you normally see in any percent runs. Starcruncher with a little bit of an issue with the Dream Block there. As Aurora Dash is going to make their way up to the Battle and Chase. Starcruncher very close behind, timer about 2 seconds back. Okay, Aurora Dash making some quick time through these first key rooms. And throughout all these rooms, that Battle and Chase is your exact movement, so you want to make sure to move through the room consistently every time so you'll know which spots to avoid. And over time, as you can see, there's more of her. There's going to be 5 or 6 by the time we get to the end of this chase. Little dev-intended shortcut there. All these big fall sections actually have some kind of little shortcut to them. You'll see it also in Chapter 6. Lots of little spike shortcuts you can take. And they're going to be moving through this little bit of ending movement going into Awake. Kind of interesting how you get the same platforms, but this time with dream blocks strewn throughout. And Madeline's going to take that phone call. If you've never played this game casually, it's actually one of the first points where we see that Madeline deals a lot with anxiety. And so she ends up getting woken up from that dream, though. And now we're going to see these guys a little bit anxious for this ending movement. Madeline doesn't have a hard speed cap in this game, so however fast you get through this section really depends on how you're able to chain together those advanced moves like hyper dashes and corner boosts. Yeah, the Chapter 2 music might actually be my favorite in standard gameplay. When we get to B-sides, though, that totally changes. Some of the B-sides are just ridiculous. Like Golden Ridge B-side, that makes that B-side worth playing. Otherwise, it would just be just absolute torture. And Marie Bo Peep in chat with the insider knowledge saying Starcruncher only recently learned 5B. And I'm assuming that includes Bub's drop, so that will be interesting to see. We've seen a lot of runners with a lot of experience lose tons of time to Bub's drop. So it'll be interesting to see how Starcruncher ends up faring. And go ahead and grab that berry by accident, it looks like. If you wanted no red berries, it would actually take a bit longer because there are a couple that are naturally in your way. So now the player's moving through the Dust Bunny sections. Or Starcruncher with the... what did he even die on? Okay. I guess he must have caught that cycle at an unnumbered time. That's unfortunate. Dash moving through this key room, though. And yeah, in case you haven't caught on, each area of this game adds one kind of... I can't really call it a gimmick because it's very effectively used, but it adds a little mechanic that you'll pretty much only see for that level. And this one's, you have to deal a lot with these Dust Bunny cycles as you move through these rooms. Now, fortunately, the rooms are individually cycle-based. There's not a global cycle, so if you mess up one room, you can start on a clean slate in the next. But as you're probably seeing, there are cases where players want to get a certain movement into a room. And so messing up a cycle there may result in you having to reload the previous room, then do that same movement to get back in. Like a base game mechanic, like the orbs that start appearing in Golden Ridge, or like how Chapter 1 introduces you to like the bouncing platforms, or a Mirror Temple has like the dash blocks. Every level kind of has something of its own that you get introduced to in that level, and then it just kind of gets taken away after. Now, both of them in this bookcase section, Aurora Dash holding on to that good lead. You can go ahead and talk to Oshiro after clearing out those books, as he's going to go into the laundry. Okay, so Aurora Dash finishing up with a huge mess. He's going to be moving on up into the ending section of the Celestial Resort. Coming up is a pretty major trick. If you haven't watched the Celeste run before, it's going to look like he just goes right through a wall of these Dust Bunnies, but there is actually a hole in the hitbox itself that is just as high as Madeline's own height. So you're going to be trying for this pixel-perfect alignment in order to get Madeline to dash right through that gap. Go ahead and take the checkpoint just to be safe. And it's good. Nice first try demo. The Starcruncher unfortunately takes a death in one of the preceding rooms. Now, this room that Aurora dashes in, you see a lot of players really up in the air after getting that first try demo dash. They end up making some basic mistake in that room. Didn't look like Aurora went for the task cycle skip. Nice movement nonetheless. We can see now Aurora Dash actually not disabling the photosensitive effects. Some runners choose to do that, I guess, just to kind of clean up the screen a little bit. And you notice it most prominently in the Toshiro fight. The screen kind of starts to fuzz out with this color. And Starcruncher also with a nice demo. Gonna be joining Aurora in that Oshiro chase. Unfortunately, going into Golden Ridge with a pretty deep deficit, but nothing that can't be surmounted. Starcruncher gets a first try demo, and Aurora doesn't. That alone can start to make it up this lead by a considerable margin. Okay, Aurora Dash going really nicely through this Oshiro chase. A little bit difficult to watch those screens, so you may have missed a death on Starcruncher's side. I apologize for that. Starcruncher, I did see that death though. That was a pretty big one of the longer rooms in this Oshiro chase. Aurora Dash going to be making his way up to the Golden Ridge. This is my least favorite level of the game casually. The wind and the bubbles are cool, but the wind is just not a very welcome mechanic. Especially in some rooms where the wind operates on its own cycle. And it's not something you immediately think of as being cycle-based, but after a couple really fast deaths in that room, you'll be like, okay, there's something up. But of course, speedrunners, they just take this level to another level. Very, very nice momentum from Aurora Dash there. Trying for the bubble skip, failing the first try. Is he going to go for it again? No. Good decision there. Doesn't save too much time, and after the first miss, kind of unreliable. So definitely props for sticking to his guns, as it were. Oh, Aurora Dash getting bopped by the corner a little bit. Starcruncher catching up visually, but remember that 20-second timer deficit he has to make up for. Ooh, unfortunate death in the Archie room. As Aurora Dash moving on to this quick little auto-scroller. Nice dash away from it. Moving on up. Nice movement there. Beautiful cloud boost there. So now we start having to fight the headwind. The wind doesn't actually matter when you dash, so it's very critical to dash at the right points in order to get the distance you need away from the wind. Aurora Dash having a little bit of an issue getting on top of that moving block, but is able to make it work in the end. Okay, go ahead and catch this block. Nice dash over. Meanwhile, Starcruncher going through this moving block room can save a couple seconds. There we go. Nice movement. Actually saving time over Aurora Dash there. Ooh, but the unfortunate death. No, negating that all that time save. Actually, wait, that was in the next room. I'm sorry, I didn't notice the screen transition. So, okay. Ooh, beautiful movement for Aurora Dash to start that room. But then getting bodied by a snowball, and again, just spawning in the most inopportune spots. Able to get the bounce off of that one. What a mess this Golden Ridge is becoming for both players, unfortunately. Starcruncher not able to get the distance off that bubble either. What is happening here? Okay, manages to get through the room on that attempt. Aurora Dash also getting past those snowballs. Making some nice headway again. It's kind of funny since they're both in this windy section. At some points it looks like the wind is just going off one screen and onto the other. As Aurora Dash gets to the carriage to go ahead and get moved up towards the Mirror Temple. Starcruncher just behind a 301 Golden Ridge. A little bit unfortunate there. And now Mirror Temple. And this comes a major route development, I guess, for casual players watching this. First off, it has to be stated, beating the B side will unlock the next A side, even if you haven't previously completed the A side associated with the B side. And in this case, completing 5A up to the tape that unlocks 5B, and then beating 5B is actually a considerable amount faster than just beating 5A straight out. So Aurora's gonna have to try for some really clean movement in this 5A. Then we're gonna see the tape grab, and then 5B, where we're gonna see a pretty major trick, Bubs drop, which is actually going to make 5B, I think, somewhere in the realm of 30 to 40 seconds faster. It's a considerable margin. It might even be more. Nice little half yeet for Aurora. Or I think that was the full yeet. It's been a little bit since I've seen one. I think if you do it very precisely, I believe that you can get past that middle gap there, the first jump. But it's fairly rare if I remember correctly. So, okay, Aurora Dash in that tape grabbing room. Starcruncher getting a yeetin', unfortunately. Nice little backup there, grabbing onto the dash platform, riding it on over. So now Aurora Dash giving up in 5A to go ahead and move on to 5B. Bubs drop is coming up really soon. So what happens in Bubs drop is you go back into a room through an entrance that you're never supposed to be able to come back in from. And then you immediately retry. And so the game says, okay, you died, and the last entrance you entered was this one? That can't be right. So the game, the way that room is coded with the checkpoints is if you came in through the first entrance, then it's going to teleport you there after your death. If you didn't come in through the first entrance, it's going to teleport you to the later one. It doesn't actually check to see if you ever hit that later entrance, so. Ooh, a cheeky little cutscene skip from... All right, Aurora Dash getting that first try Bubs drop. Very vital trick because you just have to give up and then go through all the initial movement back into that room if you fail it. So loses about 10 to 15 seconds per fail, unfortunately. I didn't actually see the cutscene skip there. Yeah, the majority of the cutscene skips in this game aren't super precise, but I think there are a couple that still require some good timing. So Aurora Dash now in the mirrored section of 5B. We got some pretty challenging Seeker movement coming up. Yeah, so a nice Seeker bop in that room to go ahead and advance through. Quick cycle on those keys. Ooh, Starcruncher dashing right into the spike trap. Just narrowly missing that cycle. And I think the timing was off again due to that red orb fail. And dying on the spikes this time? What's happening to Starcruncher? No, man. Ouch. Did get the first try Bubs drop though, looked like, so. I apologize if I missed anything. It's hard to watch two screens of gameplay at once. It's a solo com. Ooh, already taking a death at the very, very first opportunity in that 5B later half. Meanwhile, Aurora Dash having some trouble with the spike in this room. Aurora Dash moving nicely through this Theo room. Oh, Aurora taking an early death in the cycle room. And is going to make his way over towards the heart. And that is it for 5B for Aurora. Pretty clean overall Mirror Temple. Let's see what the actual time is. 2:51, not bad, not too bad. And what did Starcruncher even, what? I think he must have been trying to set up for like a reverse or something. Yeah, he's trying to do a wave dash and just dash right off the platform. I haven't seen that one before. That's unfortunate. Cleaning that room first try just fine, and then nope. Ooh, Aurora Dash failing that first try lake skip. He's able to get the spike jump this time. This game features spikes that don't actually hurt you if you're moving in the same direction they're facing. So if you're moving to the right, when you touch some rightward facing spikes, they won't actually affect you. It's only if you're moving into them that they'll instantly kill Madeline. So occasionally you'll see people lining up to go ahead and do some wall grabs and kicks off of areas with spikes. And with the lineup that they do, they're never actually moving into the spikes. Yeah, see, a lot of people accidentally miss this late skip first try. Aurora going for 6B. Okay, this is happening now. Even though he already lost all the time that he would have gained by doing this. This saves 2 seconds if done completely perfectly. This may be the future meta of any percent if there are some good demo dash setups found. There are a couple of opportunities for demo dashes, but without a reliable setup like what we have in Chapter 3, pretty unlikely that we're going to be seeing those dashes, and likewise 6B. The year is 26B, yes. Already Aurora Dash with a little bit of an issue with the bumper and feather movement here. Beautiful. Not only is he doing just an insane level, he's doing it really fast. Using some pretty wild strats. Okay. Got them chugging along in their respective Chapter 6s. Starcruncher with the 6A, the much more traditional op. I think that was the high path, right? Yeah. Starcruncher taking the path slightly less traveled by many runners. Ooh, Aurora Dash with that unfortunate dash right into the spikes there. Yeah, it's really neat to have B-sides at any percent. Okay, Aurora Dash moving on down. Starcruncher is going to go ahead and move into his battle and fight in just a moment here. Okay. Aurora Dash is just blazing through this 6B. Really beautiful movement. The Starcruncher going for battle and boost here. Very, very nice. You get the momentum from that Kevin block added onto your dash, and you just zip through that entryway. And it's not a slightly different boss layout. It's a different boss layout entirely. And Battlein also is more apt to shoot these red orbs at you than she is normally. You basically never see them in 6A, but in 6B, like, that's all she does effectively. Okay, getting into these spikes, trying to dash through the crystals. He's able to get the moves to work that time. Does Aurora run A or B? If I remember right, Aurora runs a bunch of ILs, so I think that's where this experience comes from. Yeah, we see the A side battle and fight versus the B side here. Pretty interesting little comparison. Ooh, Aurora with a death in that room. Now, Starcruncher's gonna have to start dealing with some pretty long rooms as well, and any death in these can make just a huge time loss. One death from Starcruncher now. He's gonna make it past that room this try though. Very good. Aurora Dash just going at Battling. Really clean movement through these rooms. Just a couple of bottles here and there. But very, very nice 6B otherwise. Oh, unfortunate death, just directing that feather all the way to the bottom. What's really sweet is seeing those bumper movements where you hit a bumper on one side and then dash through it as it's recovering to hit it right on the other side as soon as it recovers. Ooh, very nice dash off the Kevin block. Taking a death late in that room, though, that's going to cost some time. And another death on Aurora Dash's side. A pretty long spike fall room. Gonna be one of the difficult ones. Meanwhile, Starcruncher towards the end of this battle and chase here. And that's going to be it for Starcruncher. Going to be moving just into the epilogue sort of section of this level. As Aurora Dash still trying to make his way through this room. Oh, another death on that bumper. Oh boy. Is he going to pay for doing 6B? He might. His lead is getting cut into. Starcruncher getting on out of there as soon as he lands. It's going to be a 22:38 exit. Aurora Dash had a pretty considerable, I think it was at least a minute before or so. Already Starcruncher's making up a ton of time based on this decision. Okay, Aurora Dash making it through this room. He's at the end of the B side. Let's see if he still has a lead. Okay, has about a 16 or so second lead based on IGT. Oh boy. We've got ourselves a race, folks. Starcruncher going for a pretty ridiculous summit. Unfortunately, having to take a death there. Not liking the angle that he got trying to go up to those bounce platforms. Don't blame him. And we're going to be having a timer sync going into this summit real quick. So you are going to see Starcruncher's side pause here. It's not internet issues. We're just trying to present exactly how these runners are aligned with each other right now. So we have a pretty close race. Aurora Dash's 6B detour ended up costing a decently considerable amount of time. So we're seeing Aurora move right through that room that Starcruncher had some trouble in. Oh, these are not pre-recorded. We're just delaying the live stream. We're receiving the streams live, and the way that we have our setup working, we can delay them indefinitely if we need to. And so that's what we're doing here. We just have Starcruncher's stream paused right now, effectively. Occasionally, there will be a pre-recorded race if for some reason two racers can't schedule at any point during like the regular area. But those pre-recorded races will say that they're pre-recorded numerous times throughout the race. So as you can see, Aurora Dash still with a mild lead, but they're both in the same section of this first summit climb. And already Aurora Dash leaving a lot of time that Starcruncher can pick up here. And it seems Starcruncher will be picking up some of that. Let's see how this room goes. Nice key grab. Okay, saving considerable time over Aurora. Let's see what time Aurora... Okay, about 55 on the Galaxy Orb. Starcruncher having some deaths in this room. Can't seem to make his way through. Trying to do that precise dash to skip some wall movement. I think the lead is reduced to less than 20 seconds, or about 20. I guess 21 seconds, so. Aurora Dash, really important that he gets these Aurora-looking dashes through these green blocks. Be here all week, folks. If this is live collective berry at 1,000 people. Okay. Nice movement through this old site revisit. 42 exit. Starcruncher, meanwhile, approaching that last room. What? Okay. Aurora dashed with the demo, apparently. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. Taking a death pretty late in this room, though. You see Starcruncher just going right around as he should. But Aurora Dash figuring it's low enough to the ground, he can time it. Man! Okay. I had no idea that demo was even a thing. Starcruncher gotta wait for that cycle. Good reflexes, though, being able to wait for the Dust Bunny. How's the race going so far? Aurora Dash had a pretty considerable lead throughout the early bits of the run, but Aurora decided to go for 6B and ended up losing a pretty considerable amount of time, so it's a fairly close race now. Ooh, Starcruncher with that real clean room there. Getting even closer. I think they're about 10 seconds apart or so. Aurora needs to have some real consistent movement. Wonder if we're going to see a bound under the terrain. Or, as many people know it, the auto-scroller skip. The Monka Jam has never been more appropriate. The music is so bopping in this area, but it's so precise. Okay. Aurora's going for it. And he gets it. Okay. That puts a big onus on Starcruncher. Starcruncher just not going to go for it. Don't blame him. This is currently, though, Aurora's race to lose. He's got the lead, just needs to maintain it. Nice movement through the rest of this Golden Ridge so far, though, from both our guys. Okay. Aurora Dash moving up into the Mirror Temple revisit. This is an area we've seen a lot of people lose some time on. Even just to the cycles, it's pretty easy to lose some time with the different cycles here. Aurora Dash not even needing a dash to get through that dash platform skip. Having to wait a little bit for the cycle, not getting enough height. Starcruncher also with that fall movement. And nice spike jumps from Aurora to go ahead and grab that key. Starcruncher wastes a little bit of time in that room, but nothing too major. Oh, Aurora Dash dashing right into the spikes there on that retracting block. And one door skip. Two door skip. Nice. Ooh, hitting the spikes just before climbing onto the platform. Oh man, this is rough. Starcruncher with the beautiful hyper just right across that room. Okay, Aurora Dash getting to the big climb now. 30 flags. Gotta get to the summit of this mountain as quick as he can. Okay, Starcruncher finishing up sorry, what am I even saying? This Mirror Temple section of the climb. I was about to say 5B. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have been technically wrong, but... Okay. Aurora Dash. Meanwhile, making his way up, making some great progress in this climb. Flag 19. I see in chat someone saying it's disappointing not seeing a race between the finalists at SGBQ. I'm not sure what you're talking about, because the finalists of our last season of tournaments, they did actually compete at PACE, our own live event, specifically for showcase runs and these league finals happen in a live setting. Okay, Starcruncher with some good movement. See, this key room can be a pivotal one. Aurora Dash making it through nicely. Not picking up the checkpoint, though. Wants to stay far away from these fights. Nice leaping. Does pick up that later checkpoint. Okay. Nice movement from Aurora. He's making his way up to the last few flags of the game. Starcruncher, though, not at all far behind. Aurora Dash needs some clean movement through these last few flags. Okay. Aurora Dash getting very, very close to the end here. Flag numero uno. And one more spike pile we've seen a couple people die on, and that will be it. Aurora Dash wins this race with a 31-17, but Starcruncher not far behind. Starcruncher gonna get a lot of points out of this race. Not even having to worry at all about the 5-minute mark. Let's see if he's able to finish within about a minute of Aurora Dash. Okay, nice. 31-17 from Aurora. Meanwhile, a 31-49 from Starcruncher. Just 32 seconds behind. Very nice and close race here. GG's to both of these guys. Let's see if we can get either of them in for interviews. Now, folks, if you're wanting to see some more Celeste action, don't go anywhere. We've got at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Lev 67 versus Squilio. And then at 8 p.m. Central Standard, the Time Sync versus Aportic. We saw the Time Sync play earlier. Pretty good run, but as he said, his issue can be consistency. We can see maybe a more consistent race there. Don't go anywhere. We do have a SMO race right after this, Golden Lily versus Ochre Armband. And we've got Aurora Dash in the call for interview. How are you feeling after that win, my man?
Hello. Well, I'm surprised that was still a 31 after that catastrophic downward spiral in reflection.
Well, I mean, hey, you go for 6B. Sometimes you do get hit by those bullhorns. What was your motivation for going for 6B in the race? Hello? We might be having issues with Aurora's mic or something.
Basically, way back when I started doing any percent, I tried learning 6A for a bit. I got my time down to a 7:15 or so, and then I already had a 4:41 in 6B, so I thought, let's just go with that.
Oh, so your 6A actually isn't as consistent as you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, basically, I'd already done a bunch of ILs at that point, and yeah, I already had a fairly solid 6B, and but yeah.
And so that's a pretty interesting strategy. Now, I did see you go for that interesting demo in the old site area in Summit. So are you thinking about maybe adding a demo or two in 6B somewhere? Maybe trying to find a setup?
Maybe. I did actually go through it once a while back. I found some demos, but none of them that are useful.
Oh, unfortunate. It could certainly be a really, really strong showing from you in that 6B if you pulled out a demo or something. That would just be wild. You'd probably be the only runner to do it.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So aside from that, obviously like a couple of deaths, especially in that long spike fall room. But what chapters are you most proud of in this run? Because there were a lot of really high points.
I thought my resort was good. Like, usually my resort is really bad, so I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, I feel like it went pretty well too. And let's see, I think there were a couple issues in Golden Ridge. The summit climb overall seemed pretty great, although like a couple really minor spike deaths. I think like in the Mirror Temple section of it.
Yeah.
But what race are you looking forward to coming up?
Well, on Saturday I won against Lev, and then I don't know after that. Well, it'd be cool to run into Marlin at some point, just see like how badly I get destroyed.
I was about to ask if you were thinking about him, since he's been showing a really strong playing in this group qualifier.
Yeah. And then there's Fish in Group D, I think. He's like rising really fast. I think he'll be interesting to play against too if that ever happens.
Yeah, both of those should be just really wild matches. How do you think you'll prepare for a pretty big match like that, where you'll be matched against someone with a really considerable amount of skill?
Well, firstly, I want to schedule it sometime where, like, this race was at 7 a.m. for me, which is a bit. If I can have it a bit later, that would be better. I'd also like to want to do a whole lot of like no reset runs the day before.
Yeah, we saw with TGH a lot of consistency built off those no reset runs. They can certainly do a lot of favors.
Yeah, I really do need to improve my consistency.
It seems to be a big problem with a lot of players in a lot of speed games. Just have to go through those motions and develop that muscle memory. Well,
yeah,
GG's, my man.
Thank you.
Stuff out there.
And GG to Star as well. He got pretty close to his PB, looks like.
Oh yeah, a really solid run, really close to your lead there. I think those deaths in that spike fall room really tightened up the race. Now, I did just receive word from this back room. You're actually moving on to the elimination bracket with this win, so you're actually like officially moving on in the group stage. How's that feel?
It feels good. Like, I was feeling pretty confident about my chances before, but yeah, really good news.
Well, awesome stuff. Yeah, I was actually really glad to hear that, because you seem to be a really solid player, so great to see.
Thank you.
And with that, gonna go ahead and take it over to intermission. Again, don't miss SMO Golden Lily versus Okra Armband coming up next at 5:30 p.m. CST. Yeah, see you around Aurora Dash. Thanks so much for that race. Again, GG's. And GG's to Starcruncher too, who couldn't make it for interviews. And didn't think I mentioned it this time in this race. Exclamation YT for our YouTube channels. Go ahead and sub to them to see replays of all our races and stream highlights. And of course, exclamation schedule to see everything on our schedule. I'm Electric, and it was a pleasure calling this race for all of you. Hope y'all had fun. See y'all in a bit for SMO. Peace.